There is something that I also need to do very quickly, and before we just close the chapter on this discussion. I'm joined on the line by Bailey Richardson. Bailey Richardson is a psychotherapist, and he's joining us because there certainly is the need for us, even in the circumstances, to try to appreciate the psychological, emotional situation that these people are going through, their wives, their children, and their extended family, what they are going through. Someone says they didn't think that way when they took money and set people free, so I shouldn't be thinking that way. Nonetheless, we have heard of, at least we heard of two of them who collapsed. One, we told, is suffering a mild stroke, admitted in the hospital. We have been told there's been a rumor that actually one attempted suicide, and it took one of the houseboys to rescue him. Let's speak to Richardson. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsfile, sir.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Oh, madam, I'm good. Now,
Okay.
I just can't imagine, but how should these judges be dealing with this situation?
Well, there's no should. I mean, it's either do they need to or do they want to. The way they are feeling is probably undescribable. They must be in a deep state of shock. That's why there's a lot of panic. You know, like I heard on your show that someone's trying to get the tapes, not to be aired.
Yes.
You know.
I can imagine that when it is aired, their children may watch it, their wives and other family will watch it. People who have held them in such high esteem are all going to see it. What's a man got for himself, you know, after that?
Well, I mean, to put yourself in their place, I mean, what I would want to do is just to go and hide somewhere, you know, just want to isolate myself, not see anyone, not talk to anyone. You know, some of them probably will lose sleep, you know, lose appetite, not want to do anything because, you know, there's no way out, you know, for now, there's always a way out, you know. But it's a matter of facing the consequences, and they will probably lose a lot of friends. You know, their esteem will go down. You know, I mean, it's devastating. The thing is, when you're doing those things, you don't think about the repercussions and the consequence of your actions. You know, and the consequences are now. The thing is, how best to help them deal with those consequences.
So practically, how can they get help to avoid, you know, suicidal contemplations?
Well, that's simple. I mean, there are professionals out there that can help them, you know, overcome. It's a hurdle, okay? And they need to get someone, ironically enough, that will not judge them. It needs to be in a non-judgmental environment, an unconditional environment, that they'll be able to speak about it. And that's why they need to seek professional help. Because no friend or family can actually offer adequate help, I think, because they all have an investment in the friendship or in the relationship. So there will be judgment.
So, well, they're going to see their pictures, and their pictures have been in the papers, on social media, it's all over. And some of them, you have pictures of them taking money that's been shown all over the place, their vehicles and the vehicle numbers, you know. Yeah. All of them being advertised. I can imagine this trauma is difficult to manage.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, they would want to just go into hiding, not talk, just disappear. And some of them, unfortunately, will think that disappear means, you know, doing away with yourself, just killing yourself, you know, which is not an option. And as I heard, I think in Ghana, it's also illegal.
So you are saying they should seek professional help?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I mean, look, there have been other scandals before that's been completely forgotten by now. You know, at the time, it just becomes like, it's like a circus. You know, everybody wants to talk about it. It's like an amusement. It's like, oh my gosh, look at, you know, what so-and-so has done. And because they are judges, it's even more into the, you know, the limelight.
Right.
Because that is their job, it's their profession to administer justice. And now they are being judged, you know. So they are the other end of it. And it's really, really, I think it's an impossible situation for them to be in, you know, in terms of shame and embarrassment. But they need to seek help. They really need. I mean, Ghana. There's a lot of psychological help you can get. You know, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists. You know, but in terms of their health,
so if you are counseling, yes, about 2 of them we are told. If you are counseling such people, what are you going to tell a man or a woman who has come to a point where they are having to endure the most embarrassing situation, shame, and then on top of that, contemplating that they are going to lose their job, they may never get to do any job. If you're a judge and you're a lawyer, you may not be able to even practice as a lawyer anymore. What are you going to tell them?
I think this is an extreme viewpoint.
What is there to hope for? That's the question.
I don't believe that some of them will never work again. In terms of, I mean, the knowledge is still there. It's just that they made mistakes, but the knowledge is still there. You know, they still know the law, even though they didn't apply in those cases. You know, so that's why I think if we dramatize everything, we're going to paint a very bleak picture for them, and some of them will want to do away with themselves. So I think we have to try and restrain ourselves from making judgment. It's different as you know, being a judge and making judgment. You know, and if let's say they do seek counseling, you know, everything in life is a lesson, and that's what they are here to learn. Right. It's a lesson in being humble. It's a lesson into learning to, you know, watch what you do because it will have a consequence. You know, they're all lessons. But like I said, there's been worse cases than this before that we have completely forgotten about. You know, and I think we need to get them past this hurdle to show them that, yeah, there is a life after that, and it's how you conduct yourself afterwards that is also important. Okay. You know, they have done it. Yeah, we've seen, we've heard. Okay, so now what do we do about it? You understand? If we're going to, you know, be so much into the judgment, we're not going to help anybody.
All right.
Because, you know, nobody can say that they haven't made mistakes, and being at the end of a judgment is a terrible place to be. Nobody out there, there's a saying, who hasn't sinned before shouldn't cast the first stone. Right. Nobody out there is in a position to judge anyone. You know, so I think right now we're need to help them, you know, see the consequence of what they've done and how to overcome the feelings and the emotions that might be negative for them.
Thank you very much for your time on the show, Madam Richardson.
Their family.
Right. Thank you very much for your time on the show. Thank you very much, Madam Richardson.